Broadcasting live from NBC2, NBC Nightly News is back with the hottest and the most leading news of the hour. I am Fauziyya. Meet the greatest news. The headline for tonight comes from Irvine, California. A mother and daughter are missing as the husband became the number one suspect. To Irvine detectives, Chang Zhang's story initially strained belief. His wife and 12-year-old stepdaughter were missing, and he claimed that they were kidnapped from their apartment, and he had waited more than a week to report it. The husband, Zhang, a 42-year-old Uber driver, said he had been knocked out by a stranger at his door with an unidentifiable mist. According to police reports and interviews with Irvine detectives, Zhang said it began with a knock on the door of his small apartment on Michelson Drive about 4:30 p.m. on November 22, 2019. Zhang was at home with his stepdaughter, and his wife was driving home from Las Vegas with a carload of fruit and fish they planned to sell at the local market. By Zhang's account, he answered the door to find a man and a woman he did not recognize. The woman held something in her right hand, and he felt something wet and misty on his face and collapsed. He woke up on the dining room floor hours later and found blood stains on the carpet and a bloody handprint on the kitchen wall. His stepdaughter was gone, and his wife, who should have been home by then, was gone too. However, the police interview found that aside from Zhang cleaning blood from the carpet, he also followed the kidnapper's instructions to behave as usual, posing as his missing wife on WeChat, even told his stepdaughter's school that the missing 7th grader was sick at home. According to Zhang, he found a handwritten note on white-lined paper in Chinese saying that his wife and stepdaughter were fine and that they would return in a few days. They told him not to contact the police, clean the remaining blood patches. After a few days, there's no sign of the mother and daughter returning home. Just then, he decided to call the police and stay the night at the police station. Zhang said he did not know who had kidnapped his wife and stepdaughter or why. There had been no demand for ransom money, but he was afraid the kidnappers were watching him. All of this helped to establish Zhang as suspect number one when he approached police on December 2, 2019. Interrogating him for hours, police told him his story was impossible. Experience told detectives that a husband who killed his wife and stepdaughter was far simpler and more believable scenario. Irvine advertises itself as America's safest mid-sized city, and for a year and a half, its police department said little about the unsolved disappearances of 34-year-old Amber Ayaz and her daughter Melissa Fu, a student at Rancho San Joaquin Middle School. A pair of bare-bones news releases generated few leads. One element of his story seemed easy to debunk. The mystery spray that he said had rendered him instantly unconscious. Irvine police detective Gavin Hudson said he never heard of a spray knocking someone out. But the FBI said such substances did exist. One was an anesthetic called fluothane, and its use suggested a kidnapping of unusual sophistication. But now, after what they call an exhaustive investigation, including more than 40 hours of interviews with Zhang and a parallel investigation by the FBI, detectives say they have not been able to disprove Zhang's bizarre account. Instead, the police say it has proved consistent on point after point. Irvine Police Detective Haldor Laram said regardless, the police have to be open to alternate possibilities. Some people assume a Gone Girl scenario in which Ayaz fled with her daughter for reasons unknown to another city or country, but there are arguments against it. First, the 7th grader, who used to talk to her grandmother daily, has not contacted her since. Ayaz has not touched her bank accounts in America, and their passports were still at the apartment. The Chinese government says she hasn't touched accounts in her native China either, nor has she or her daughter entered the country since they vanished. That makes another theory seem likelier by the day, that Ayaz and her stepdaughter are dead, the victims of an uncommonly efficient and sophisticated broad daylight kidnapping that became a double homicide. That is NBC Nightly News this Sunday. We'll be back tomorrow at midnight every Monday to Sunday in NBC2. I'm Fauziyya. For all of us at NBC News, stay safe and have a great night.